Evan Hill with All Seasons Exteriors at 2116 Hackberry Circle on June 2022. Having a look at a 30-year laminate shingle. So one of the first things I noticed when I put up the ladder there is that this is a 3-layer roof, meaning, as I mentioned before, there's 2 layers of shingles underneath this layer of asphalt shingle. This is a laminate shingle, which means that, you know, it's a multi-dimensional, multi-layered shingle, so it's a lot stronger than the previous roofs that I've looked at. These are supposed to have, you know, a minimum of 110 to 130 mile per hour wind rating, so that's why you're not going to see from the recent windstorms any shingles missing up here. There is quite a lot of thermal cracking, and what I mean by that is something that gets worse over time, but you can see right here on the shingle, you know, a lot of sun exposure, and the fact that there's multiple layers of roofing. Even some added ventilation really wouldn't do anything about that, because the heat in the attic is actually like kind of cooking these shingles underneath and the 2 layers underneath that, so it's just kind of storing that heat, and that's why these shingles are going to deteriorate before their time. You can see that cracking is pretty much all over you know, every shingle on this roof. The only real concern, well, 2 real concerns, you know, for the immediate future is because of the multi-layer and because of all the heat that's trapped underneath there, you're starting to get what are called nail pops. And what I mean by that is you can see these nails actually like kind of pushing up these shingles like that. I've just you know, made some mark with some chalk on some of the obvious ones. You can see that right there. Those nails are pushing that up because the heat underneath is just completely, you know, lifting them out of the wood sheathing, and that's going to start causing, like, you know, these little small holes like this right here in the shingle. But there are 2 layers underneath that, so while it is damaged, it's definitely not going to leak for quite a long time, but it is probably within the next 5 to 10 years going to cause some wood rot. So right now, honestly, there's not really much that you need to do on this roof. Definitely you don't need to file an insurance claim. There's nothing from a covered peril up here that an insurance would cover, but I did find one spot where, likely from wind, there is what's called a ridge cap. These shingles right here missing on the end there, but you can see the 2 layers of shingles underneath are still protecting, you know, the roof and, you know, the dwelling underneath. These ridge caps are just basically pieces of the 3-tab shingle, so that's why it's ripped off, and, you know, there's no wind damage to the other. So definitely don't recommend filing a claim, but, you know, in the short term, you know, next 5, you know, to 7 years, this roof would need a replacement.